And action. Today's adventure takes us to Nevada. Yes, the state of Nevada, and we are in Goodsprings Cemetery. Now, Goodsprings was started in the 1800s. It was an old mining town. It is now an abandoned mining town, but they do have a cemetery here. There were a lot of murders back in the 1800s because mining towns were a rough place to be. So come join me as we check out Goodsprings Cemetery. Here's a unique monument. It's Jeffrey Conroy. I see a little drum up here, Ham's beer down there, and some drumsticks, so he must have played the drums. And next to him is a nice cowboy hat. Steve Gatlin, 1954 to 2023. Here's a really interesting marker here. It looks like it's made out of horseshoes. It's a cross. It says Bahi on it, B-A-H-A-I. And somebody really did a nice job. They have finials up there that they welded. They welded the cross. It says Irena Van Cobb right there. What a very nice monument to her. And here appears to be some of the older graves in this cemetery. This one here is unmarked. I don't see a headstone there. This one here does have a headstone. It says Anna Nimir on it, 1869 to 1890. So I believe they said the cemetery was started in 1890. So this might have been the first grave here, or at least one of the first graves here. And then next to her, it looks like another unmarked grave. I do not see any headstone on that one. But we do have some old ones here. Now we were trying to figure out what these says. It looks like the last name here is Mort. It's like M-O-R-T. We could not make out the first name. It looks like there's a W there. Old wooden cross, like you would see in the Old West. Oh, wait a second, we are in the Old West, so go figure. And then we have another one here, old wooden cross. This one looks like James, J-A-M-E-S. I can't make out the last name. I tell you one thing, coming from Chicago, something like that would not last over 100 years, that's for sure. But in the desert, it does. And we have a couple more really old ones, surrounded by wood, a wood fence. This one is Martha Price, died in 1918, and Norman, 1936. And then Josephine Hitchcock, must have been their daughter, 1991, but you see here like a little like lantern or something there, an old style lantern, and there's a little box, like a trinket box with a wood trinket box with a penny on it. Really interesting. You wonder how long those things have been there. And then next to it is another one that looks almost the same with the wood fence, but I don't see any markers on this one. So I don't know if somebody was related or not. What an incredible cemetery. You don't see cemeteries like this in the Midwest, that's for sure. And then you wonder, how does somebody dig through rock and this dirt to bury somebody? I mean, that's got to be a heck of a lot of work. And we have like newer ones here. Lynn Rhodes, husband and father, from 2004. Which is rather recent. We saw some, I was walking around here a few minutes ago, and there's some from 2023. So it is still an active cemetery, which is kind of crazy given where it's at. Like this one here from 1967 looks like it was from yesterday. Dolly Smith, 1918 to 1967. I mean, unless somebody still comes here, mean, that looks like it was just from yesterday. It's kind of crazy. Here's a really neat one, because somebody actually brought in this rock, this cool looking rock, and put it here for Shannon Miller. And she was young too, 1987 to 2014, so she was in her 20s when she passed away. Granddaughter, daughter, sister, mother, and friend, so she obviously had a family that cared about her. But what a remarkable memorial for her. This is a nice family marker. They will soar on the wings like eagles, but there's a little interesting story to this one. On the marker there, you'll see the name of Terry Ray in the lower right corner. And he was actually murdered in 1987. He was shot and killed. Now, I don't know if I assume they caught his killer. I don't know. I do know from what I've read that his killer was at his funeral. If that's true or not, I don't know. But the interesting thing is, there's quite a few people in the cemetery that were murdered. There's a guy, Paul Koski, who was playing cards at the saloon down the street, the Pioneer Saloon, in 1915. He was cheating, and the guy he was cheating against stood up, shot him twice, and killed him. He's in the cemetery somewhere, although I believe his grave's unmarked, so unfortunately we're not going to find his grave today. But there's a lot of murders buried in this cemetery. Well, thank you everyone for coming on this walk with me today. Here's an old sign to the cemetery. As you can see, Goodsprings. This is all hand carved, Goodsprings Cemetery. Still readable, in pretty good condition. But thank you so much for coming with me today on this walk. And until next time, keep exploring.